Good morning, Firsties. Happy Tuesday, April 7th. Just a reminder, it's a short week of school. You only have 3 days this week because it is Holy Week. And on Thursday and Friday, we should take some time to really focus on Jesus' sacrifice during his passion. Okay, so you have 6 tasks today, 4 language arts again, 2 math, and let's jump in. Your first task is handwriting. Remember, I've shortened up those spaces so it's more back to realistic, but I really want you being careful to make sure your words have spaces between them. You don't want words running together. Okay, here's where your name goes, and then these are your sentences today. The passion of our Lord should stir our hearts. So when we think about all that Jesus did, it should make something happen inside of us to be grateful. Okay, Jesus suffered to free us from sin. As he prepared to die, he thought of each of us. And I know I've told you this before, but remember, even if it was just one of us, Jesus still would have gone through every single part of his passion to save us and get us to heaven. That's how much he loves each of us. So, name at the top, and then these beautiful words to remind us of what's happening this week, written neatly underneath. Okay? That's job 1. Job 2 should be pretty easy. You should have this page from yesterday on which you wrote 8 nouns. Okay? Now today we're going to talk about what goes in the rectangle. Okay? And there are words. We've learned about nouns and verbs. And today we're going to talk about a third kind of word called an adjective. And adjectives are words that describe nouns. So they tell us about nouns. So you might say today, I'm wearing a purple shirt or a long sleeve shirt. Okay? So that's 2 things, 2 adjectives that could describe just my shirt. So what you're going to do now is think about your nouns. So if I have this book, I might say that this is a thick book. So I would write thick book. Okay? So that's describing my book. It tells me more about my book. I can picture better what kind of book that is because there's an adjective describing it for me. So a thick book. Then here, you could go ahead and color, and colors are a kind of adjective. So if you made this a green plant, you could go back and write green plant, okay? So you need to think about all those nouns you did yesterday, and in those rectangular boxes, you need to add just one adjective for each of your nouns, okay? So I can say green plant. So there's my green plant. It is telling me more about my plant. Now I know it's not purple, I know it's not yellow, I know it's not orange. I know that it's a green plant because that adjective is there. Okay? So if you have maybe a person in your family and you wrote your brother's name, you could say cute, brother's name. Okay? You could say silly, brother's name. You could say kind, mom's name. Okay? These are all words that describe the noun. If you do chair, you could say cold chair, brown chair, boring chair, tall chair, short chair. Any word that can describe your noun is an adjective. We will work more on this tomorrow, but today, go ahead and add in the adjectives in your rectangles, okay? That is job 2. That should be pretty quick. Job 3 is your black book, and I need to tell you a story quickly about Greece. So if you remember, Cyrus decided to expand his kingdom. He was ready to come invade Greece. Then there was a King Darius who wanted to invade Greece, and then there was a king named Xerxes, and he also decided to invade Greece. So this is about 10 years after the Battle of Marathon. And there's a King Xerxes, and he says, I'm coming into Greece, okay? And he goes and says this, and a lot of the city-states in Greece join him and say, oh, we'll be on your team. We don't want to fight you, but 2 of them, and a few more, but 2 take the lead. That's Athens and Sparta, and they say, no way, we're not joining you. You're not conquering us. We will fight you. And Xerxes sends a message and says, surrender your arms. Now, that doesn't mean give me your arms. It means give me your weapons. And there's a king who's about to lead the battle, and he's a Spartan king, and his name is Leonidas, and he says, come and take them. Like, if you want my arms, you need to fight me for them. Okay? So they go to battle. Now Xerxes invades in the north. So if we look at our map of Greece, he starts up here and starts working his way south. And Leonidas and his troops, which are a pretty small band of people, band means a group, are down here at the city-state of Thermopylae, okay? And so here comes Xerxes, and we're trying to stop them. The Greeks are saying, we need to stop them here because if they make it past Thermopylae, then they're going to get into southern Greece, which is where Athens and Sparta are, and we don't want them to get there, so we need to stop them. Now, lucky for them, they're right by the sea. Thermopylae is by the sea. So if you can imagine the sea here, okay, and then there's a really steep mountain, and there's just a little bit of land. So they're saying if we can stop them right here, they can't get past us. They can't get to the south. So they're going to kind of clog up the way. They're going to just park themselves there with their shields and their swords and their spears and not let the Persians through. Okay, now there are about 7,000 people fighting with Leonidas, which is not a lot. King Xerxes had brought 70,000 or more soldiers from Persia, which means that for every one Greek soldier, there were at least 10 Persians. So they are way outnumbered, like way outnumbered, okay? But they're brave, they're displaying courage, and they're going to fight anyway. So they fight for a couple of days. The Persians are shooting arrows at them. A lot of the Greeks are dying. There's a small group of them left, and they have a little council, and they say, we need to retreat. Okay, retreat means go away. We need to go back to our homes and get ready to fight them in the south. So a lot of them leave. A lot of the ones who are still left leave, and that leaves a teeny tiny group with King Leonidas. Now, King Leonidas was Spartan, okay? And we know that Spartans are not ones to give up in battle, especially. And so he's like, we're not leaving. We're staying here. Now, here's what King Leonidas didn't know. There was a traitor. And a traitor is someone who gives away the secrets of his side to the other side to help them. So this man was trying to get Xerxes to give him things. So he said, I'll tell you there's a secret way around the mountain. So if we think of our Greeks are here and our Persians are here trying to fight them, he tells them a secret way so they can send some of their troops here. And that means the Greeks will have people coming at them from both sides, which is going to be even harder to defend. So the traitor does this. Xerxes sends some of his troops. Now the Greeks are being attacked on both sides, but they very bravely fight till all of them have died. Okay, this is the Battle of Thermopylae. And because of that, this is sad, Xerxes is able to expand his empire and move farther south. Okay, but we remember this battle just because of the courage displayed, because they stood that ground for so long when they were so outnumbered, and it was only a traitor who was able to break what was going on. Okay, so that's one battle. The second battle we're going to talk about quickly today happened down here near Athens. Where's my Athens? Right here. So if you look here, here's Athens. Okay, and then it was right here, and then Piraeus is a little town right near Athens, and they had a lot of ships there. And now, while Xerxes was moving south with his army here, he also had his navy, that means his ships, following him. So it was like they're moving down like this. Some guys on land, some in the water. And they get all the way down here, and they get a little tricky, okay? So they get them to come into what we call the straits. And straits is where the land gets closer together, and there's less water, so it's skinny. And the Persians bring in a ton of their ships, but now they can't really move them because they have big ships, and it's hard to move in a tight space. And the Greeks did this so that they could just start smashing these ships. And they were able to sink 300 of them, and they only lost 40 of their own. So they sank way more Persian ships. And this was a huge deal because King Xerxes had this big plan where he had the army and the navy working together, and now his navy's kind of been destroyed. So he has to take time and go figure out what he's going to do. And this gives the Greeks time to unite with each other and be ready for battle. And this is called the Battle of Salamis. So Salamis is actually the first big naval battle in history, but it's also kind of the end of the war because there are no huge battles after this. The Greeks and the Persians fight for another 30 years, but nothing is such a big deal as Salamis. This was the last big battle, okay? So today we are going to put both of those into our black book, and our sentence will say, the Greeks displayed courage at both Thermopylae and Salamis. So you will have your line in your black book, and then we will go ahead and write that. The Greeks displayed courage at both Thermopylae. Now those both get capital letters because they're proper nouns. And Salamis. Okay, so here is your sentence. Now, if it were me and I was putting this in my black book, I'd want to remember both of these battles because they're both a big deal. So I would divide my picture place in half and draw two small pictures. So over here I'd have Thermopylae. I would have the sea out here, a little bit of land, and then a steep mountain. Okay, and I'm gonna draw teeny tiny little Greeks and Persians in this picture. So here you can see big mountain, the sea, and then this little place of land that the Greeks are trying to defend. And the Greeks fought with shields and swords. So I've got, oh, I made these guys really tiny, sorry. Okay, they've got helmets on, they've got their swords glistening in the sun. Okay, they are not afraid, or maybe they were afraid. Remember, courage can also mean overcoming what you're afraid of. Okay, so there's my little Greeks, teeny tiny guys. And then I'll have some Persians off here in the distance. And the Persians did not fight the same way. Okay, they're down further on the beach. They had bows and arrows. So they would be launching arrows at our Greek guys. Excuse my little soldiers, you boys are probably much better at this. Okay, so there are my Persians. Just remember you need to have more Persians than Greeks. I just have two of each to give you an idea. So there's Thermopylae, and I could even put a T there to remind me that's the Thermopylae story. Okay, and then I'll put an S over here for Salamis. And so they've got their big ships. They would just crash into them and get them to sink. So you can have some that are going down, okay, sinking under the water. Okay, and that is what happened at Salamis. So that is your black book. That is job 3. Job 4 is reading, okay? And then you have math. So today you have a math page, and then we're going to work more on that subtraction. So let's go through our math page first. So your name, it says draw a 7-centimeter line segment. Centimeters are pretty tiny, so that should be only about up to there, okay? Draw your name, the date, which is 4, because it's April, -7, -20, and then the day of the week is Tuesday, capital T-U-E-S-D-A-Y, okay? Then you're writing the number 115, so that's 100 and then 15. Circle the digit that tells the tens, so you should be able to look at that and see tens, okay? It says there are 9 boys and 7 girls in Mrs. Glenn's class. Color the graph. So there are 9 boys and 7 girls, okay? You need to color those, and then it says, how many more boys than girls are there? So think of our weather graph at school. We do this all the time. You guys know there's more sunny days or more snowy days or more cloudy days. You should be able to tell how many more by how much farther the line's sticking out, okay? So if I had 2 and 1, you would know there's 1 more. If I had 3 and 1, you would know there's 2 more. So you see where they line up and then how many are left. That's all it's asking. How many more boys than girls? And then it says how many children are in the class all together. Okay, so you count all of them. 9 plus 7. Show 8:30 on both clocks. That's 8:30, remember? And your little hour hand needs to be halfway past the 8 for that one. Draw a 5-sided polygon in the box. That's your pentagon. I hope you worked on your shapes on Friday. Pentagon is the one that kind of looks like a house. So it's like you start with a rectangle, but then you put a triangle on the top, okay? Here, I'll draw it so you can see. It's not too tricky to draw. If you draw the bottom of a rectangle, like that, and then put the top of a triangle on top. Of course, yours needs straight lines, unlike Mrs. K's. Well, let's fix that. Okay? Pentagon. That's what you need to draw in that box. And then circle the rectangular prism. You look at that, which one's a rectangular prism, you circle it, then you put an X on the cone. Okay, and now this is very similar to what we're doing on our next page, but this is just with money. So all you want to do is do the ones first. So what's 9 take away 0 is 9, and then 7 take away 1 is 6, okay? Go ahead and do those. This one, you're going to go 9 minus 8 in the ones house, and then 3, if there's nothing underneath, it's a 0. So it's 3 minus 0, okay? And then on the back, you just have facts of subtraction. All right, and then here is your subtraction page to practice today. So remember, if you wish, you don't have to if you're getting it down, but if you wish, you may color. So color your ones, color your tenths, 2 different colors. Then we always start with the ones, always, always, no matter if we're doing addition or subtraction. And we'll learn why soon. We know why in addition, we'll learn why in subtraction. So we're gonna start with subtraction of the ones. 6 take away 5 is 1, and 3 take away 2 is 1, which means that my answer is 11. 36 minus 25 is 11. Let's do one more. I'm gonna bounce down here. Okay. So we're going to start with our ones again. 5 take away 3 is 2. And then 4 take away 1 is 3, which means that 45 minus 13 is 32. So you have 6 left to do on your own. That is your last task for today. All right, quick recap. Job 1 is handwriting. Job 2, add those adjectives to your nouns. Job 3 is your black book with our Greek battles. Job 4 is reading. Job 5 is your math page. And job 6 is subtraction. There you have it. Happy Tuesday. I love you. God bless you. Goodbye.